Donovan, you guys were down 22, 5 minutes into this game. Like, how did you keep your composure to just keep chipping away?
Yeah, I mean, everything that could have went possibly wrong went wrong. You know what I mean? And at that point, it's like, you can only go up from there. I think, give them credit. They came out the way, and started the way they were supposed to. But for us, once we got to the end of the first, we've given up 38-point quarters before. We've been down 12 in the first quarter before. So you don't think about the 25-3. You think about the end of it. Just being consistent throughout. Even when we got the lead, to still being consistent. That's the biggest challenge. It's been my challenge all year. How do you respond? And we did.
Kenny credited you, again, with just the calmness, that it not being too high, not being too low. So at that point, take us through what you're doing to keep basically the group still confident.
Hey, we're good. What's there to trip about? It's a loud environment. This is what we played for, be down, different scenarios throughout the season. This is just one another scenario. How do we respond to it? I think coming into the game, like I said, it was like no championships being won tonight, so kind of just saying, look, all right, we got punched in the mouth. What are we going to do about it? You know what I mean? How are we going to respond? And, that's been my biggest message. You know that. I've said that about every game, and tonight was another example. Just a larger audience.
When you look at what the bench was able to provide, plus all down the board, right? What do you attribute all that to?
Well, I think it started with the energy. The first subs, I think it was Ty. I'm trying to remember who else was out there. I think Dre, Dean, pushing the pace, kind of get going. Ty was great vocally, and then you got Dre coming in. And then after that, like I said, at the end of the first quarter, down 12. Second quarter, figuring it out. 10-point game, we went to halftime. Starting with the third quarter, kind of shaky responding there, but the bench, man, was phenomenal. Then Evan Mobley, he said he was going to be one of the best players in the world, and he showed it in that fourth quarter. The biggest thing now is just consistency. Can we do that for about 48 minutes? And, definitely proud of how we all responded.
Is there a mental advantage to picking up the series split like you did, especially the way that you did it?
You could say yes, you could say no. I think for us, man, my first year, we lost OKC. I think it was 3-1. And none of the games were close or that we lost. And then we ended up winning in the first round, beating them. So I think, there's obviously some part of it. But, at the end of the day, Kristaps and Drew didn't play. You know what I mean? So we just, like I said, take it step by step. Enjoy this. Enjoy the feeling coming back and how we won. But at the end of the day, man, nothing's being won now. And just understanding that we could have said it this morning. We could have lost by 40. Could have won by 40. How are we playing when we get to that point? That's it.
Jalen, he ties the game at 114, and you took over. Did you feel like it was time?
Yeah, just kind of having a pulse, having a feel. I took some bad ones though at the fourth. I didn't like, kind of settled, but that's all part of the process, learning. But for me, just kind of doing my job when my number's called, and just keeping it steady. That's what I do.
What is the importance of having Evan go on that mini run that he did at the beginning of the fourth quarter?
You saw it. I think the way we ended the third was great, and then it's how do you start the fourth? And he came out aggressive on the boards, getting into the paint, demanding the ball, like the three he had in the wing where I kicked it to him. I heard him screaming for the ball. Well, not screaming, he doesn't yell, but in his way, asking for the ball, up the floor. So you just that confidence, just that level of aggression early. You know what I mean? I think, especially how the last game went for him against these guys, for him to come out in that fourth and be like, nah, I'm not rolling. I'm coming to set the tone. That really gave us a big boost for sure.
Did you know you guys would respond like that when you were down 22?
Yeah,
and
did
you learn something about you guys as the way that went?
Yeah, we always do. The same thing kind of happened when we played here the first time in the in-season tournament. So I have no doubt we'll respond. I think the biggest thing is we responded, and then when we got the lead, we kept it. You know what I mean? We didn't allow them to come back. We did. They tied the game up, but we stayed there. You know what I mean? I think that's the biggest thing. That's the lesson we take from the game. We play at a high level, man. We play really at a high level when we're all locked in, continue to do what we want to do, and this is the stage for it. So I'm glad we got this win in that fashion. But the biggest thing, I'm always going to be the critic. We can't get down 22. We got to set a tone from the jump, but if we do get down, we're capable of, doing what we do.
You guys gave up 25 early, but you only scored 3, and you're the best offense in the NBA. How did you unlock that?
Just getting back to what we do. I come down, turn the ball over, in front of D. White. He comes down, hit the three. It's stuff that we just don't. I miss a free throw. I think somebody else missed a free throw. Little things. It's not who we are. You just kind of have a reset moment as a group. All right, cool. Sorry. all that stuff happened. Now it's how do we respond? That's really what it is. Not really tripping, not really kind of getting, angst or like uptight. Just being like, okay, step by step. It's a long game. It was within the first 5 minutes. Like it was a long game, a lot of game left to play. So that's what we did.
When you look at the 4 games collectively between you guys, what are the main takeaways, and what did you figure out are some of the keys to being able to stay with them and beat them ultimately?
I mean, the biggest thing is play the full 48 minutes. Both teams are going to go on runs. Both teams are really talented offensively, getting stops, not overreacting to some of their threes. Offensive rebounding has been huge in these 4 games. So, those are some of the things that we've seen, and ultimately, if we see them when we get to that point, we got to be ready.
How did DeAndre help you in this specific matchup? This obviously first time he's played against Boston with you guys.
Just being able to switch, being able to guard, knocking down shots, his length, blocking shots at the end there. Everything he's been doing for us, he's done. He's been phenomenal. He's been phenomenal for us. We're definitely appreciative because now we can change coverages and guard teams differently than we have. For the past 2 years. He definitely is a game changer for us, and you're just seeing it on a night-to-night basis.
Evan, 5 minutes into this game, you guys find yourselves down 22. How did you guys keep your composure to slowly chip away?
I feel like we just stuck together. That was the biggest thing. It definitely wasn't a great or best start that we wanted, but we all stuck together. We knew where we were at, and we just had to dig deep and fight through the whole entire game.
How big was the bench in those moments?
They were huge. I think their plus-minus was great this whole entire game. So when they came in, they brought a boost for us, and from there I feel like the starters just piggybacked on their energy and kept it going.
You really took over in that fourth quarter, and as somebody who took a minute to get going in this game, what was your mentality there?
Just sticking with it. Like I said, like you said, I didn't have the best start, but just stuck with it. And the fourth quarter, things started falling for me, and was locked in. And sometimes games go like that, so you just got to stay locked in the whole game.
Is that difficult mentally to do, to keep doing that in the fourth quarter when things weren't going your way?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely hard, especially I got 4 fouls in the third, and so I had to come out, but just try to stick with it. And, the game rewards you when you stick with it.
Donovan was saying in the fourth, you showed that you could be one of the best players in the world, that's something you're really aspiring to. What's that process like for you of showing that and starting to believe that a little bit?
Just believing in myself, that's the biggest thing. When you have belief in yourself, you feel like you can do anything. So every game, even from this slow start game, just believing in myself the entire game, and eventually things started falling. And I feel like that's the biggest factor in getting to where you want to get to.
Biggest comeback win of the season? How are you guys able to do that? Like, what does it mean that this group can come back from being down 22?
See, it means we got grit. No matter how down bad we get, we're going to keep fighting. We're going to keep going all the way to the end of the game. And tonight we kept fighting, and they let us back in the game a few times. Honestly, we got down, I think, 17 in the third as well. So we just kept fighting, and eventually they let us back in the game, and we took over.
What was not happening in the first half defensively?
I feel like we got to a slow start offensively, which let them get into transition. We had some turnovers, and from there they just got easy threes, wide open threes, and got us in rotations, and it was easy for them. And then as the game went on, we started settling in, started scoring, getting back on defense, and could set our defense up. And from there, it slowed them down a little bit.
You hit those 2 threes at the beginning of the fourth quarter. What did that do for you in that moment?
Brought a lot of confidence, and shots weren't necessarily falling early for me, and from those 2 shots just boosted my confidence up, and teammates were helping me with that as well, coaching staff as well, and from there just playing good basketball.
When you look back at 4 matchups with them collectively, what are your main takeaways, and what are some of the keys to competing and beating them?
I feel like the main thing is just guarding your yard on them. You got to guard your yard and not get into too many rotations because they can definitely knock down the three ball. And, that's a big factor for them. So through these 4 games, I feel like we did a pretty good job of that. And, I mean, we can't wait to see them again.